And we're back, guys. So, got the truck up on the lift. Oh, I'm a bit under the weather, but we got work to do. So, I need to pull these off and replace them with these. So, we could mount the engine with those motor mounts right there. So, I won't film this because there's not really a spot to mount the camera, but let me get these pulled off. I'll get these installed, both sides. And I also got the transmission mount. You know, you C10 guys are spoiled because y'all got that Chinese premium. China's making stuff pretty cheap. And this thing is pretty solid too. Directly for C10 guys, but anyway. This is gonna replace the transmission mount, and it has like these humps to clear the exhaust. And what's cool is it's got an adjustable mount here to get the driveline angle correct. So it'll replace this cross member right here. And this one is caked in there, so I'm gonna have to beat it out. But we'll beat the crap out of this thing, get it out of there, get the new transmission mount in, get the new engine mounts in, and then we could just sink that thing in here. Also, I met up with Brandon and got the headers. He got the really nice ceramic coated ones. So we'll get those bolted in, drop everything all together. That way it's not too big of a deal. And also, these don't have anything on the ends for the collectors. So I may go ahead, I know I got some 3-inch V-bands. I'm gonna go ahead and weld some V-bands on these. That way it makes install and removal of the exhaust so much easier than the slip-on stuff. So, let's do that. I'll be back in a bit. All right, guys. We got the engine mounts in. Transmission mount is mocked up, it's not tight. But let's pick that sucker up, throw it in here. All right, you guys, the EOS is officially in. I still need to put the transmission mount on, so I'm gonna get the truck up in the air, get that hooked up. Now, when I was putting it in, I had to move these motor mounts over forward. I had them in the, I guess the 3rd position from the front, and that was way too far back. So I put them in the 2nd one. I'm hoping that the stock driveline fits right there, so we'll find out. I'll put the transmission mount on, check the drive shaft length. It needs a carrier bearing, so I'm gonna have to get that. But yeah, we're getting closer. So once I get that figured out and you know everything mounted, I put the transmission cooler fittings on the transmission. I'm gonna run AN lines. Brandon's got a new radiator ordered. Once we get that in, I'll run the plumbing for that. We need new heater hoses. The fuel line. Now this is what I'm running into with this. The fuel line, this is a stock fuel line right here. So it comes up kind of on the front, and on the 69 Camaro, I just ran it here, tied it into that, fed the fuel rails. Oh, excuse me, I'm sick. I got like a flu or a cold or something. But I think I may have to do the same with this one and run a Corvette style regulator right off of the pump and then just return it to the stock tank, because I got this throttle cable bracket that mounts here, and the crossover is going to be in the way of the actual throttle cable. So I think I'm going to run the feed here, cross it over on the backside, and then just dead end it here. It'll work. It worked on the Camaro. It worked great. But yeah, we'll figure that out when we get to it. Yeah, let me get the transmission cross member bolted up, and then we can start working on the rest of the stuff. All right, you guys, got the transmission cross member on. Now, I tried the drive shaft, and it's not gonna fit. So we could move the entire engine up like 2 inches, about 2 inches off. But if we do that, let me show you guys. So if we do that, it's moving everything else here up 2 inches. Now, keep in mind, we don't have a radiator yet. So the radiator is gonna be probably about right here. We move this up 2 inches, it's gonna be way too close. And we're gonna have a huge gap back there, which right there, it's not bad right now. So I'm gonna make an executive decision and just have Brandon order a drive shaft, because if we move everything up 2 inches, we're gonna have a huge gap up there. Everything up here is gonna be up against the radiator. We're not gonna be able to fit a fan or anything. So, sorry, Brandon, we need a drive shaft. With that in mind, I'm gonna pull the yoke off the stock transmission, or the stock drive line, and then measure the distance from the end of the transmission all the way to the diff, and we'll probably just run a one piece. I might have to notch that cross member in between the cab, but that's no big deal. Now, we might have to notch this out, but, you know, it's not a big deal. I'm hoping we can clear this, since it did have a two-piece, but I don't think it hit anything. You know, there's no evidence that it'll hit this one. So with the one piece, I'll take the yoke off, slip it in, give it about 1 inch of play, or 1 inch of pullback. You know, that way it articulates with the suspension. And then measure it from here. You want to measure center of the U-joint to the center of the U-joint, from here to the face of this. So, sorry, dude. We need a drive shaft. I'm not gonna move all this stuff forward and have it look, you know, all messed up front. I would rather have everything looking right up there and fitting right with the radiator, and just get a new drive shaft. So, sorry, buddy. Anyway, driveline issues aside, I got the intake mounted. So this is basically what's getting in the way of that crossover line. The 90 actually runs out and it runs directly into this. Another solution would be just to drop like what do you call it, just a straight elbow on here with orb 8 to AN 8 and then come across. But I already have this crossover made, so I'm just gonna put it in the back, run the feed straight in here, and just run the Corvette style regulator right off of the pump under the cab. We're gonna have to still run a return line to the tank behind the seat, so I'm gonna have to get in the interior to do all that. But for now, let me get the V-band welded on the headers, throw it up there. I still need to take the yoke off. I'll knock that yoke off, throw the headers on, weld that V-band, and then we can get the headers in here and keep moving forward. Let's get it. All right, y'all. Got some V-bands welded in, nice and crispy. Now, let's get them thrown on, and I think it'll be a good stopping point. It's fixing to get stupid windy. But we got the engine in, let's get the headers in, and then we'll pick this up. Tomorrow I probably won't be out here. We're supposed to be like 80-mile-per-hour gusts out here in West Texas, so it's gonna be horrible. Hopefully I'll still have a shop standing. But yeah, let's get these on, and then also one thing, the throttle pedal had the old type of like linkage, mechanical linkage. So I'm gonna have to get creative with that one or take it out, and I bought this one. This was gonna be for my 59. That turd over there. But if I can't make that work with a cable, I'll probably take that one out and then mount this one in there. And you know, once I get to work on the 59, I'll just order another one. But I'll get with Brandon and see if he wants to do this. The only thing that sucks about this, it doesn't mount in the stock location, so I would have to drill holes in the firewall to mount this one. Another thing I can do is, I know Low-Car makes a linkage for like a carburetor that will go in that hole, and then the other end is like it's like a open barrel for just a regular cable. The only thing with that is I don't know if it'll let me do full throttle. You know what I mean? With the, I guess with the distance that this pedal has to travel. That's all the way up right there. And I don't know. I'll figure it out. The rest of this stuff is going to be a bunch of small stuff, but small tedious stuff. So let me get the headers in, and then I'll get you guys back with a full shot of, I guess, the engine bay with the headers in it. And yeah, go from there. Also, pro tip, when you're welding the V-bands on like headers or whatever you're welding them on, make sure you tighten the clamp because these will warp. That's hot. But yeah, before you get to welding, tighten the clamps. That way they don't warp. And then, you know, once they cool off, then you can pull them off and it'll be fine. But yeah, I've had a bunch of these where I just split them, I'll weld it, and then they're all wobbly. They're all warped, and then you gotta seal them with RTV and it just becomes a pain. But yeah, tighten those on before you weld them on. For this end, I got an extra pair that I basically just use to complete the half so they don't warp. But yeah, let's get these on. All right, y'all, headers are in, all tightened up. I didn't get to film any of that because my phone is dying, so I had to put it on the charger real quick. But let me get into the truck and show you guys how that looks. And here it is. And yeah, typically this passenger one on the Schoenfelds is a little bit higher than the driver's side, but that's no big deal. We could always, you know, angle it down to clear this. The only thing that sucks is this brake cable, so we'll figure something out once we get there. But yeah, here's this one. It's pretty much a straight shot here. But so the plan is to come out. I'm gonna X-pipe it. This is gonna suck because there's no way to get the exhaust through it. And I know they sell some, but you gotta knock these rivets out and make all kinds of mess to get that working. So it's gonna suck, but we'll probably have to come out and then come angle it under and just hug it real tight to this cross member. This truck doesn't lay frame, so it's not a huge deal. But yeah, we'll come out, go over, and then I think we're gonna dump it behind the axle for now. I'm still gonna have the X-pipe probably right here somewhere under the driveline. X-pipe it and then dump it down. Brandon was still kind of thinking of taking it out on the passenger side, but we'll see if he likes it with it dumped down. It's gonna be super loud, but it's gonna sound sick. So yeah, we'll fab that up once we get there. But Brandon already ordered the drive shaft. Once we get that in, we'll bolt that in. That's all we got for today, guys. Let's call it good. We're making some good progress. So hopefully, you know, pretty soon we'll get this thing fired up. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Don't forget, Jesus loves you. Peace.